Happy New Year! After the choice of releasing 80 Jin on Christmas Eve, which I will not honor with finding the right insoles, let's talk about the insoles it brought for us. What the actual f*** is this set? The chest is just less useful Nu Udra Gamma. The 2-piece bonus is actually good on that one, and the hands could be useful for element sets that use Gore 2-piece and Wex. But what kind of substances were taken to put Foray on the helmet? Foray! Disgusting. Pretty much as predicted, the biggest impact 80 Jin had was on budget sets, which are proper budget sets now. The two big sets still reign supreme, being in order the Pinnacle and this Ele Phial setup. Let's talk about them. Here's the Pinnacle, here's the uptimes, here's the Ele Phial set, and those are the uptimes. That's nice and all, but when should I use which, I can hear you say, which is why I present to you this handy sheet. Monsters highlighted in red are element file matchups. Yellow outlines mean that it depends on the target hit zone. For example, Blangonga is a power file matchup, but if for one reason or another you primarily attack the torso, an element file would serve you better. Information on all of these can be found in section 3 of the written Wex Meta guide. Next up, budget. First off, power files. Here's this resentment situation, and that's how the budget sets will look going forward. 1. Skill rolled on the weapon, craftable charm. Because the matchups differ at different budgets, the matchups this set wins against equally budgeted sets are now part of the build cards. With the exception of the budget Ele Phial set, which is equivalent to high-end Ele Phial in terms of matchups. And then there are two sets that are strictly worse than these four. 4-piece Gorg, where the main use case is tanking Omega. And a budget Ele Phial loadout that drops latent power for Wex. Its main use case is multiplayer, when you're really bad at maintaining amp, or if you just despite latent power. Look, I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but that is genuinely the only time you would optimally choose Wex over latent power in this skill economy. The last two sets of this update both contain the literal elephant in the room. Convert Element. It activates upon taking any elemental damage, which synergizes well with our counter. Once activated, it lasts for 2 minutes before going on cooldown for 90 seconds. Therefore, the maximum average uptime on it is 120 seconds over 120 plus 90 seconds equals 57%. The reason for this is that it's active for 120 seconds and cannot be activated for 90 seconds. So a full cycle of the skill is 120 plus 90 seconds or 210 seconds. The part of the skill we care about, being the big, totally not blast procs, scales with raw damage and requires the ability to deal elemental damage. Scales with raw damage here means that the proc rate, not the damage, scales with raw damage. Damage is not equal to attack stat. During those 2 active minutes, if you can find enough openings to consistently stick to the monster and hit it, Convert Element is really strong. On average, that won't be the case, however. This set exists for the sake of completeness. I do not generally recommend it. The matchups in its build card are ones it genuinely wins, mathematically. For the sake of transparency, I must inform you, these sets have not been playtested. In case you're wondering how I spent my holiday break, generally, I spent less time actually playing whiles than would be reasonable for someone that mastered the game. I'll be changing that on the weekend and the Monday after this video released. At these times. I'll try to keep the meta updates shorter going forward, and to drop some behind the scenes peeks into the how and why of these decisions, skills and math, as that seems to be a point of contention both on platform and outside of YouTube. Oh, what's that? Seems like I gotta go. A local reenactment of the human centipede appears to have gone wrong. You'll see me soon.